Networking and marketing made simple is for you, the business owner that has a product, service, or message that you truly believe in. My name is Scott Aaron, and each week we'll take a behind the scenes look at real world networking and marketing tactics while leveraging LinkedIn to get what you have in front of many more people. Thanks for spending time with me, and let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Networking and Marketing Made Simple. Super excited for today's episode. Obviously, we have another interview coming at you. Another amazing entrepreneur, obviously going to share their story with a very, very impactful message, but also an incredible business. And we're going to dive into a lot of different things. If any of you are familiar with quizzes and assessments, that is something that my wife and I highly, highly believe in. We're familiar with a lot of the big ones out here, including the one that we're going to be talking about today. And I just want to let everybody know there's a lot of quiz and assessments stuff out there, and, some better than others. But I think if we draw a straight line through them all, the more that you can qualify the people that you're looking to bring into your business, the more that you can find out ahead of time what their areas of struggle are, the bottlenecks in their business, that's going to help you better qualify those people. Because, my guest today is not going to disagree with this, but we don't want to waste our time with people that aren't ready to move forward with something that we're offering. So we're going to dive into all that and more. So Max Nee, welcome to today's episode.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So before we get into obviously your Scoreapp business, let's rewind the tape. I always like going back before we go forward. And reason being, everybody focuses on where someone is right now. They focus on the fact that you have 6,000 people on the platform and all the amazing things that you're doing, the lives and businesses that you're changing, including your own. But people see the glory, but they don't know the actual story behind what Max had to go through to get to where he is today. So if you could personally rewind the tape of where you started to where you are now, and you can press pause at a certain point in that journey that you feel was probably the most impactful or catalytic moment for you that really propelled you to where you are today, what was that moment for you?
Wow, big question. Good question. So my first business that I had some success in, we went from zero to $2 million a year in the first 2 years. And a lot of people asked me, and that was in a saturated industry during COVID, where we had a totally remote team when it wasn't a thing, and we had never met each other, right? So a lot of people ask me, how do we do that? um what did you do? And the brutal answer is, to achieve any type of revenue goal, 7 figures or more, you need a lot of leads and a lot of sales, right? And some people might hear leads as like a word that they like or they don't like. But for me, a lead is really simply someone that's put their hand up and they've said, hey, Scott, I've got an interest to potentially buy what you have to sell. So happy to be on your mailing list, right? So that's a lead. And you want, usually 1 out of 30 or 50 of them buy something. So you want as many of them as possible, new, fresh ones coming in every single month. And, what really changed the game for us was we mastered how to do that. We mastered how to do that in a really big way, in a predictable way, in a way that was cost effective. Then everything else is just all service delivery, to be honest. So the selling, the conversion, the cash, the sales, the money part of the business was more or less solved. It was just about building the car around that petrol so that you can move forward.
Yeah, it's interesting. LinkedIn is my main platform, as we were talking about in the pre-show. That's our big lead generation source. I've been teaching people organically how to generate leads on LinkedIn. And we have a similar background. I used to do bodybuilding as well. I actually started in the fitness industry in 1998. I do competitive bench pressing now. So does my dad, who's going to be 72. He's an absolute animal, still puts up 325, 330. It's 72 years old. Um,
Wow.
yeah, I
Nice.
mean, yeah, and he had brain cancer last year, beat that, got a double knee replacement in January. I mean, he's just a freak. But I was using LinkedIn actually to grow the online side of my wellness practice, and I didn't realize it could be used for that. And I just actually came back from Minneapolis, Minnesota yesterday. I was giving a keynote out at a HR professional convention, and I was just sharing, and this is what I always talk to people about, is that it's about relationship building and bridging gaps. But without leads, you have no business. And that's the thing. You can't Posting on social media only gets you so far. But to your point, when you can have a continually filled pipeline of leads, whether they're qualified or not qualified, and I think, one of the big things that Nancy and I believe in is doing things to get people from online to offline. Social media is rented land. It's one of those things where you got to build your email list, right? You have to have people to contact, and they may not necessarily be available or wanting what you have to offer right now, but that's why you nurture them. And quizzes are a great way to do that. And there's a lot of CRMs that have quizzes and assessments built in. The one big thing that Nancy and I love, and this is what I want to ask you, is sliding scale assessments. And for people that don't know what that is basically, sliding scale assessment is like 0 to 10. How serious are you about taking your business to the next level? So, with all the different types of assessments out there, what's your feeling and opinion on sliding scale assessments when you are trying to better qualify not just the people that you're connecting with as a lead, but also nurturing them through whether it's an email sequence, an inbox sequence, nurture sequence, whatever the case may be?
Yeah, so Scoreapp, the company that we're talking about that I'm a part of right now, uh, is a quiz funnel marketing platform. Some people can conceptualize it a bit easier if I use the word survey or if I use the word assessment. Long story short is that what we do is we send out a landing page with a bunch of questions on them to your ideal clients. They'll answer those questions, and then those questions will then formulate using the app a personalized report. And the report could grade them on a bunch of particular scales. Could be 0 to 10 or 0 to 100% type of thing. And it's bodybuilding is a really perfect one. It's, hey, look, based on your eating habits, your weights, your heights, your goals, you are 72% of the way to achieving your ideal body, based on the answers that you've given. And how would you like to talk to Scott to see what it would take to get to 100%? Like how clear cut, simple, straightforward is that, right? So it's pretty simple, right? It's as simple as, if you don't measure it, it doesn't get any better, right? And also when you put like a measurement, a metric in front of someone, it takes emotion out of the sales conversation, and it just gives them an objective, like scorecard, a report card type of thing. And that helps people to see the gap of where they are, where they want to go. And then, your product or service helps them to fill that gap, and then they get to say yes or no.
So, there's a lot of different ways that we can qualify people, right? There's checklists that people can obviously utilize. I feel one of the most underutilized aspects of qualifying people for your products, your services you're offering are assessments and quizzes. So let's talk about the backstory, not just Scoreapp, but quizzes and assessments. How did they come about? But more importantly, why do you feel more entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, service providers aren't leveraging these enough to better qualify their leads?
Yeah, good question. So it's perfect for everyone you mentioned: coaches, consultants, service providers, authors, online entrepreneurs, anyone that sells a digital product more so than physical products. We have about 6,000 paying clients right now, so it is proven. Um, it takes a bit of marketing creative to get it right. So that's probably obstacle number one. So the setup is obstacle number one. It takes a bit of marketing creative, takes a bit of support. That's why we've got, like, I think, 3 to 5 full-time customer service people where you talk to a real person. And then we've also got ChatGPT to help you to write 6 to 7 hours of copywriting for you, right? Just to wipe that all clean off the desk, right? So we can get you going as quickly as possible. But then the next part is distributing your quiz, right? You've got a lead magnet, which is a converting tool, but you need to drive traffic to it. So, what's really underutilized, to be honest, is podcasts. I believe everyone that has a podcast that is going on other people's podcasts should be using it, because it's really good at turning a listener or a viewer, an eyeball, attention into an email or some engaged interest. We've got some pretty big content creators that use a platform, their testimonials on the homepage, like Christo, Jay Shetty, Ali Abdal, and they're using it that some of them have 15, 20 quiz funnel scorecards, and they've got one for one video, right? Jay Shetty might have one for the purpose video, for the happiness video, for the unhappiness video, right? Because the more personalized and laser focused you are, the more compelling it is for your potential client.
So you just mentioned some big names. I'm a big believer in success leaves clues. I had the very fortunate ability to have a very intimate dinner with Jay Shetty a number of years ago. There was about 20 of us.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, it was awesome. Great guy. Was a complete open book. We were able to ask him anything and everything that we wanted to. But for me, and especially for my wife and we have 3 companies that we run together, we're always big on finding out exactly what people want, not what we think people need. And I think there's a big difference between marketing to people and marketing with people. And so just to give you an idea, we've recently created an assessment. I call it my LinkedIn scorecard. So basically, anyone that goes to my LinkedIn profile, they can find it on there. And basically it addresses what I feel are, the main components of what builds a successful LinkedIn presence. And basically there's different sections, and basically they get an output that gives them their LinkedIn scorecard number. And, the higher the number, the more affluent they are with utilizing
Mhm.
LinkedIn. But obviously the lesser the score, it shows them what they need to obviously get help with. And I get that, email saying, hey, someone just took your scorecard assessment, blah, blah, blah. But also I put a sliding scale question at the end, if you feel you need help, would you like me to contact you to talk about how I can assist you with better using LinkedIn? So there are all these little things that you can do to kind of bring people closer to you. Where do you see the world of quizzes and assessments going? Because obviously there's a lot out there that you can connect directly to a CRM. So after someone takes the assessment, they get, an automated email from your email service provider, whether it's Kartra or Kajabi, Go High Level, whatever you're using, Keep. And then you can take them through a sequence, which again, you can then make a low ticket offering or even hopping on a call with you. So where do you see the world of quizzes and assessments going as more people are looking to better qualify people? But Max, as you and I both know, the nurture process of converting someone from a lead into a sale is taking a little bit longer. And obviously, quizzes and assessments can shorten that if they're done the right way.
Yeah, so I think, I want to zoom out from this question. So, look, generating leads, converting sales online is constantly changing, right? And you constantly need a better advantage, more personalized. A lot of people aren't doing recorded webinars anymore, and they're actually doing live webinars, but they might do them less frequently, right? Just to give that little bit of extra um X factor, and to get people, to pull people into a room, right? And also, you've got to remember that we're fully out of COVID now, and live events are king, right? So your online strategy needs to be laser sharp to really penetrate. So I'll share with you some numbers. A typical landing page conversion lead magnet thing, whether it's 10% off, whether it's a call, whether it's an ebook or whatever, typically converts at like 10-15%. A scorecard, when you get it right, we very often see conversion rates from 20 to 40%, right? And there's a whole range of reasons in that. It's personalized. A scorecard it's a self-discovery. It's not just information. It's find out what's my personal score. So it's self-identification, self-discovery. It tickles the emotional trigger of vanity. So that's very compelling, and that can pull people in, because Scott's found out his score, but what's mine, right? And what's my girlfriend's, and that type of thing. So I think that whether you're using scorecards or not, data is king. And the clients who know the most about their audience and just reverse engineer what their audience wants is the one it's going to win. So I'll give you an example of this. That it's in everyone's lives, but you probably overlook it. So if you haven't noticed already, Netflix, all the Netflix didn't make any of their own content for the longest time, right? 5-10 years. But now all the Netflix movies, if you watch them very, very closely, they all essentially replicate other existing movies. You know what I mean? Like, you've got a lot of great movies, like action movies with like The Rock and Ryan Reynolds, right? Then all of a sudden, The Rock and Ryan Reynolds are in the same action movie on Netflix, like, right? And the storyline and the arc of it follows a lot of their other movies, so Netflix has all the data, right? Has all the data on what you watch, who you watch, why you watch it, who's searching Ryan Reynolds, who's not, right? And then they just do the math. It becomes just like a math exercise. Okay, this many eyeballs watch this genre of Ryan Reynolds movie with this much action, this much comedy in it. If we just replicated that, then we use an AI aiming robot to target the home run hit, and we just hit the home run, right? It's that simple. It's a mechanical win. So you can have that in your business now, whether you're selling supplements, protein powder, LinkedIn, right? Like, yeah, you might not have millions of people in terms of data, but even if you have 10-20 people, saying that they want the color black instead of the color red, in terms of what you have to offer, that's still usable.
So obviously people know obviously the value behind quizzes and assessments, but let's talk success stories, because I 100% believe that we need to have different methodologies and ways of better qualifying people, building know, like, and trust. And I wholeheartedly believe that quizzes and assessments can do that. So case study wise, for the listener that's kind of, I would say, not on the fence, but just needs a little bit more clarity of where they are right now without leveraging quizzes and assessments to where they could be if they did. Take the audience through a little bit of a case study, almost like a before and after, whether it's Scoreapp or other assessments, where someone's business was when they started leveraging quizzes, assessments, and where it took their business after.
Yeah, great. So, uh, The answer for everyone, because everyone's in different niches and industries, right? If you want to see a buffet of examples, industries, examples, and inspiration and creativity, scoreapp.com, there's a page of templates that you could just copy and paste. So we make it really, really easy to get started. Then you add your own polishing to it, right? So on the website as well, there's a few case studies. It's amazing because some of the case studies that do really well are some of the most intangible products. So I'll give you an example. So there's a woman who has a personal branding business. Now, personal branding, I don't know about you, but for me, those words have always didn't really mean anything. Like it's a little bit fluffy, and I'm a very tangible. I'm like, sales. Uh, give me a dollar sign. Give me a number, right? So so she created a personal branding. Can't remember what it's called, but you can see it on the website. A personal branding scorecard where she added a measurement, right? A way to measure, a way to track where you are now, where you want it to go. And that went bananas. She generated like 800 leads for this personal branding thing because everyone wanted to know what their score was, right? And then there was another guy who generated 10,000 leads, and he had a coaching business where he was helping people with trauma. Trauma is extremely intangible. How do you measure trauma or whatever? But it was shining that light, onto something that hadn't had a light shine on it before in that way. That's got a lot of traction. So those are two abnormal ones, and then you get the really common ones. Like for example, um, that there's two main types of assessment. There's the rating scale, 1 to 10, uh, 0 to 100% type of thing. And then there's the bucket one. So the bucket one is, what type of entrepreneur are you? Are you a Jeff Bezos? Are you a Richard Branson? Are you a Elon Musk? Are you a Ariana Huffington? Right. And that's really interesting for people as well, because, if you pick 5 categories of entrepreneurs and they're all really famous, cool people, Oprah and really aspirational people want to know who they are, right? So um, you know, what I would say as well is that every single person listening to this has done some type of quiz funnel. You just didn't realize it because that's how slick and engaging they can be. Anytime you've interviewed for a job and you've done a personality assessment, that was a quiz funnel. Whether you did 16 personalities, Myers-Briggs or whatever, what you probably didn't realize is that when you tick that box to receive your results, on the other side was a university collecting all of your results and constantly chewing through your data to work out what's the strengths and weaknesses of XYZ personalities. And then, if you've ever signed up with a personal trainer or joined a gym, you've probably done a body type assessment, whether you're, small, medium, or large as your natural tendency for body type assessment, which obviously helps you to work out, where your diet should and shouldn't focus, or what exercises you should and shouldn't focus on. So that was also another type of quiz funnel, right? So these are everywhere. And the beautiful thing is that you've probably done one, you didn't realize you were doing it, and that's magic, right? So you actually went through a enjoyable lead magnet experience for someone else's business, but you didn't even know. So that's what we do. We give that to you so you can give that to your clients.
So if we talked about more, you know, there are so many different ways that people can utilize and leverage quizzes and assessments. If if someone was to say, "All right, Max, there's a ton of quizzes and assessments out there. What are the defining features of Scoreapp that really separate it from other stuff out there, whether it's the types of quizzes and assessments, whether it's the integrations that the platform has? What would you say are the biggest things that really make Scoreapp stand out from other options for quizzes and assessments that are out there?"
Yeah, good question. So we have the highest level of optionality. You've got direct plugins to ActiveCampaign, email, MailChimp, all the usual suspects, Google Sheets, Google Drive, and Zapier, right? And straight into your Facebook Pixel, everything. So the highest integration of everything available on the market. But the real magic sauce is like what I said at the beginning. The obstacle to getting this set up for yourself is the setup, right? So, not everyone's a marketer. Not everyone's good at being empathetic in how they write their questions and how they set up their quiz and how they personalize it for their business, right? So it takes a bit of marketing creativity. So thanks to our friends at ChatGPT and OpenAI, we have an AI wizard in our platform where you answer, say, 5 questions, and then it will create the concepts and write the copy for you in minutes, seconds to minutes. And that's usually about 6 to 7 hours of work. The 6 to 7 hours of excruciating, trying to structure and set up and write my long form essay. Um, uh, our AI wizard does 95% of the heavy lifting for you. Then you just go in there and polish it, and then you're in the market.
So obviously, as these platforms grow and advance, obviously before we end today's interview and obviously tell people where they can go to find out more, what's on the horizon for Scoreapp? Where do you see you guys going in the next 12 to 24 months that's going to continue to stand out as one of the best platforms out there for quizzes and assessments?
Yeah, well, we had some exciting news that just happened actually. So there's a guy called Ryan Levesque, and he's written a book called Ask, and it's a New York Times bestseller, and it's all about quiz funnels and using this type of funnel to engage your audience, get the data that you need, and then market to them in the perfectly fitting gloves to their hand, right? Market to them in a really personalized way. So we just acquired his business. So, we just acquired his business, Bucket.io. All of his clients will be, we'll be taking care of them. And then all the new clients will be, moving over to Scoreapp. So everyone will be, so we're growing very, very fast. We're growing very fast organically. We're growing very fast through acquisition. We see our user base doubling in about, 12 to 18 months. Because right now we probably have about 105 people sign up, 150 people, sorry, sign up to use the program. That's a combination of free and paid because there's different levels of accounts every single day. So it's like 1,000 a week, right? So we're it's working and it's working really, really well. And we over deliver, right? So we got this book. I can get a copy out to you, a physical copy
Yeah.
if I can. If not, we'll get a PDF out to you. Um
What's the book
uh,
called, just so for the people that aren't watching on YouTube?
yeah. So it's called Scorecard Marketing, the 4-step playbook to getting better leads and bigger profits. And that book was written by our founder, was written for the business, and it basically walks you through everything you need to know to start applying this in your business today. So I'll get you a free copy if you just go to Scoreapp, SCOREAPP.com/book, and we'll get that out to you.
Beautiful. So, Max, before we sign off today, and again, I just appreciate you and everything that you shared. One final, before I get to my final question, best advice for, again, there's something out there for everyone. So the people that are kind of thinking about, okay, I want to invest in assessments and quizzes for my business. What's your best piece of advice for that person to make the right decision with the right platform for them that serves all the needs that they're looking for?
Oh, it's a big question. Let me think. How does someone find the best thing that they're looking for? Look, I try not to overcomplicate things, right? So there's a lot of ways you could solve this problem. You could use ScoreApp, you could use some other platform. There's a lot of platforms out there. Um, what I would say is, don't necessarily go for the cheapest one or whatever have you. You want to go for the one that helps you to just get the job done. And maybe that company has a better user experience, UX. Maybe they have got better customer service. Maybe they've got more tutorials online. Maybe, and you quickly figure that out, especially if you're not a techie person. I think the shorter your attention span is, the pickier you'll be, and you'll gravitate towards the best one for you. So I would focus on service rather than features, because you just want to get this thing working ASAP, and you don't want to be, nickel and diming, right? Features and things like that.
I can attest to that because my wife and I are in the process of starting our own YouTube video podcast. And I went on Amazon and I cheaped my way to getting a all-in-one podcast setup for $69. And it was absolute junk. Because it
I
didn't
didn't know you could get
work.
them that cheap. So that's an achievement.
Yep. And so then we went to Guitar Center and we spent the appropriate amount of money. We spent probably, about $1,000 on everything that we needed. And, now it's going to be done the right way. And to your point, just because something is cheaper doesn't mean it's better, but really do your research. And I think that's what it really comes down to. So, Max, final question before we sign off today. What does success truly mean to you?
Oh, good question. So, it sounds like fluffy and like probably a little bit cheesy, but success for me is a feeling. And maybe I get that feeling from, yeah, doing business, having a big month, the numbers, the revenue, right? But the more I pay attention to that feeling, it actually comes when, other things are winning as well. I might have a win in terms of like the customer service part of my businesses. I might have a win in terms of like the efficiency part of my business. So it's not always to do with like sales and marketing. And usually if I just keep myself in that sort of like winning energy, then I win more in all parts of my life. And so success for me is just staying in that lane, and that sort of like euphoria, right? In that sort of winning euphoria.
Well, I agree. And I think life is about doing the things that we need to do to progress forward. But, um, just enjoying every single day and really knowing that what we're doing is making a difference. And obviously, everything that you guys are doing over at ScoreApp is making a difference in people's lives, businesses, revenue, all of those things, because it's getting people to get in touch with more people and, in essence, just leave people better. And I think that's what we're looking to do. So, Max, before we sign off, if someone's looking to learn more about you, ScoreApp, and all those things that we mentioned today, what's the easiest place for people to find you guys on social and or online?
Yeah, so the easiest place to find me is on LinkedIn. I'm totally addicted to LinkedIn. So Maxwell Nee is my name, and I'm the only one on there. But yeah, ScoreApp, there's tons of resources on our website. So scoreapp.com is everything you need.
Awesome. So, Max, I just want to thank you again for being here today. I've been looking forward to this interview just because my wife and I wholeheartedly believe in quizzes and assessments to help better qualify people. And I think you did just an incredible job of really bringing that home to bring more understanding to people that may not know about them, A, and B, maybe didn't know the power of using them properly. So, Max, thanks again for coming on to the show today.
Perfect. My pleasure. Thanks, Scott.
So again, anyone that's looking to connect with Max, obviously we'll have his link to go connect with him on LinkedIn in the show notes and the description of this episode and the email broadcast that gets pushed out. but also all the information about Scoreapp will be there as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Love and gratitude to each and every one of you, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for checking out today's episode. If you could, please support this podcast by hopping over to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or any place that you're listening to this. Leave us a rating and review. Let us know what you loved most and what you would like to hear more of. But also, if you would like to learn how to take your business to the next level, whether it's using LinkedIn or working directly with myself and Nancy in our intimate group coaching programs, you can head over to www.thetimetogrowth.com or scottaaron.net to learn more. Thank you again for your support, love and gratitude, and I'll talk to you soon.